Josh Hart and the New York Knicks have made a decision on his contract negotiations moving forward. We're going to explain what it means for the New York Knicks moving forward into the offseason. We're also going to look at a 76ers guard that apparently has a lot of interest within the New York Knicks organization. All of this and more today on the Knicks Digest. Before we get started here, guys, about 97% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you like content like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support what we got going on for this channel. And now, let's dive into it. Apparently, the New York Knicks and Josh Hart have extended contract negotiations all the way till Thursday. Now, Adrian Wojnarowski first dropped this bomb. According to Woj, Josh Hart and the New York Knicks have agreed to extend a Saturday night midnight deadline for his $12.9 million player option until this Thursday. Hart, a key trade deadline addition to the Knicks, is a priority to retain on his new deal. Woj also continued and added this. Hart, a priority to retain on a new deal, could opt in and extend off that salary number for next season or decline the option and become an unrestricted free agent eligible to sign a new deal with the Knicks or another team. So the New York Knicks and Josh Hart have an important decision to make. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that we're having these talks right now. We knew this was coming. And of course, we also all believe, I think you would agree, that Josh Hart and the New York Knicks are going to work out a deal. And eventually, he will be a long-term New York Knick. I think a deal is going to be worked out in some form or fashion. I just can't put a finger on what the number is going to be. But according to Woj here, it's interesting to note that the Knicks and Josh Hart could have extended and should have extended on Saturday, but they chose not to. Instead, they pushed it all the way to Thursday. And that's interesting to note because why would you do that? As a New York Knicks organization, there's no real reason to do it unless you're looking at a key free agent or you're looking at a key trade. But sometimes with a trade, you can't see what you have until you let a few days transpire and see what other teams do and what moves other teams make before that team you're looking to trade with might get desperate and make a move that they wouldn't have made if another team was involved. So there are some things to look at, and I think that's what the Knicks might be doing here. Adrian Wojnarowski gave us a little bit more information on why the Knicks may be doing this with Josh Hart. According to Woj, an option for Hart that would deliver the Knicks cap flexibility would be an opt-in and an extension off his $12.9 million for next season, which he is eligible to do for up to 140% of that salary. This would give the Knicks access to using their full $12.4 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception. The Knicks have $149 million in guaranteed salary on the books for next season, which is $16 million below the luxury tax level. So it does seem like the New York Knicks are using their brains here and trying to think about what makes sense for the New York Knicks as a team before they lock in long-term money with Josh Hart. It seems like they're looking to use the little bit of money they have with that taxpayer exception there and seeing how they can maximize it to its fullest to add another key piece to the roster to see if they can elevate it to the next level and help them gain something that they didn't have in the playoffs. Hopefully shooting, because that was one of the major things they were missing in the playoffs. While I do think the New York Knicks are going to extend Josh Hart, it's going to be interesting going into this offseason, seeing what the New York Knicks do. I'm very interested to see what they do on Thursday with Josh Hart, his contract, and what number they settle on. Because I think no matter what number it is, the fans are definitely going to have a reaction. From retaining one key player to potentially adding another key player this offseason. Apparently, according to some reports, the New York Knicks may be interested in adding Shake Milton in free agency. Shake Milton is a guard for the 76ers. And of course, with the New York Knicks looking at free agents on the market, they're looking to see who they can add to upgrade their roster and add key pieces to help them do things that they couldn't do in the playoffs. Well, according to Steph Bondy, If we're looking at the Knicks' connections ahead of free agency, somebody to keep in mind is Shake Milton, a former SMU player who Larry Brown urged to sign with Worldwide Wes and CAA ahead of the 2018 draft. So I just mentioned a very key phrase. CAA. That's right, he is represented by CAA. So automatically, box checked. The Knicks are interested. Because if you know anything about the New York Knicks and Leon Rose, it's a CAA destination. If you're CAA, you're likely going to have a job with the New York Knicks. Sometimes, whether you know it or not, you might be employed by the New York Knicks. If you're CAA, sometimes that's how it works. That's how close of a ties the New York Knicks have to CAA players. Shake Milton being represented by CAA is huge because it absolutely means that at nothing else, at bare minimum, the New York Knicks will at least come calling to see what it would take to add Milton to the Knicks roster for next season. Because without question, if you haven't seen what he can do on the 76ers, he started a few times for the Sixers and he put up some great numbers. But it was his shooting that I found very impressive. Check out these numbers. Milton has shown readiness to step up when needed, even making spot starts. In 11 starts this past season, he averaged 20.3 points, 7.2 assists per game, shooting 52% from the field, 41% from behind the arc, and 97% from the free throw line. Now, it may be a small sample size that we're looking at here, but do not get it twisted. 11 starts for a 76ers contending type of team is enough to tell me that he can do it for a longer stretch of time. And the best thing about him is, whether you want him to start or whether you want him to come off the bench, he can do it and he won't care. And he can give you production no matter where he comes in. That's the type of players you need. It's that shooting though. 41% from behind the arc. There is so many things the New York Knicks needed to do better in the playoffs. So many things we saw even in the regular season that the New York Knicks needed to upgrade in. And we just couldn't do it for whatever the reason may be. We just didn't have the shooters. The ball wouldn't go in the hoop. Whatever. We didn't have the right ball movement. It just tells me that we need to add other key free agents to this roster that allows us to compete at another level. And when you talk about adding key free agents, you look at a few things. For me, the Knicks have to prioritize shooting. And Shake Milton gives you shooting. Not only regular shooting from the field goal, but gives you three-point shooting. And he is lethal from the free throw line. So that means if he's in the game and it's late game, you cannot foul him because it's like free money at the line. So that's an amazing asset to have, especially in high pressure moments like the playoffs. I like the fact that the Knicks are interested in Shake Milton. If he's available for a reasonable deal, I wouldn't mind adding him to come off our bench to see what he can do with his shooting prowess, as the New York Knicks sorely needed shooting, not only during the regular season, especially from the corners, when sometimes we were wide open but missing shots, but in the playoffs, where we could not buy a three to save our life. If your name wasn't Jalen Brunson in the playoffs, you couldn't buy a bucket, really. We need somebody who can hit a three. We need somebody who can hit a three consistently. We need somebody who can hit free throws without being a burden at the line. We need somebody to create their own shot. We need somebody that we can depend on when the lights are bright. And I think Shake Milton checks all of those boxes. If available in free agency, I think the New York Knicks should absolutely grab him. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below. Smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.